I'm sure by now everyone has heard of the Charlie Kirk assassination, and there's still a lot of research into what happened to him. But now there's a Charlie Kirk hack. Let's look into it.
So this Medi-Map breach, another data breach in health, it's used in aged care, disability and hospice settings to help with managing medication. So quite important. The hack saw some patients who were still alive declared dead. Others had their names changed to Charlie Kirk.
Interesting. So this is 6+ months later, and we have a hack. This is in New Zealand at a medical company, and they turned everyone's name to Charlie Kirk and declared them all dead.
Joining us now to explain why, also what we can do about this, is cybersecurity expert Adam Burns. Adam, good morning.
Morning, Ryan. How you going?
Yeah, good, thanks, mate. Is this one of those hacks where they'll go and sell the information? Because it sounds like something different, or something maybe political with Charlie Kirk involved. What's your assessment?
Potentially a political hacktivist attack. There's been no mention of ransom demand. There's just been, as you said, patient names being changed to Charlie Kirk.
That's super important. So a typical attack, a typical hack is to destroy something, to leak something, to make money, which is probably the most common, like some kind of ransomware, or just for like political activism, right? So in this case, it's interesting that it's in New Zealand. So are we going to see more of this? Is this just the beginning of something? We know that many nations are extremely good at hacking. Iran, China, Russia, Ukraine.
With that being a conservative, political name, it's potentially a political statement or, an attack from some hacktivist group. It's just, a little bit different to what we normally see.
A lot of people have been guessing where it came from. Now, is this like the group Anonymous that actually has gone around and hacked? They're ethical hackers, for example. They don't hack to break things down and destroy things and leak information, at least not bad information for the average person, but they do moral hacking, ethical hacking. So they release information or they do political movements towards a better end for humanity, especially in that area. Is there something in New Zealand specifically around the Charlie Kirk case or Charlie Kirk in general? And we have this article here getting a little bit deeper into it. Hacker marks living patients as dead in New Zealand hospital cyber attack. This is from cybernews.com. The New Zealand medical app Medi-Map was thrown into chaos after an acute hack left it in disarray, severely affecting one elderly care home in particular, and even branding some of the victims as Charlie Kirk. That, to me, if this is an ethical hacker, I don't think they would do that to an elderly home, but let's keep going. Some of the patients began disappearing in real time, while others were marked as having passed away. Most outrageous of all, however, was that the hackers had the audacity to change some of the patients' names to Charlie Kirk, the firebrand conservative who was assassinated in September. We just kept losing more patients from the screen, a registered nurse told Stuff Digital, describing how records were suddenly altered, with around a third of users having their records altered during the incident. The panic the hack caused rippled through the home, throwing routine practices off course. Now, again, like I said, this could cause danger to these people. You have an elderly home. These people have medications. They have very sensitive bodies, hearts. So this is something where I don't see this as being an ethical hacker or something morally correct. Some people say that this was like a pro-Charlie Kirk movement. I don't see that based on the after effects of this. The facility was forced to revert to paper-based medication charting, which had a knock-on effect. That is terrible. You know how important medication is when you get into your senior years. It can mean life or death, even within a couple hours. Medi-Map confirmed unauthorized activity that resulted in patients' demographic records being incorrectly modified. According to the company, the affected data includes names, dates of birth, assigned prescribers, locations of care, the resident status, with some patients even being assigned to different facilities. The damage caused by the hack stretches beyond the destabilizing of one care home, however. So this is bigger than just this specific location. Medi-Map is a widely used app in New Zealand, with around 60% of aged care facilities in the country depending on its infrastructure. The hack could affect more than 2,000 GPs, 340 facilities, and 350 pharmacies, and potentially reach into the tens of thousands of patients. And the use of a politically charged name such as Charlie Kirk's could be intended as a case of hacktivism, a brazen brand of political ideals, rather than a standard data breach. So again, the big question is, why now? This is 6+ months later, after Charlie Kirk's assassination. Clearly, there's still a lot of things going on. We still have the trial that's coming up. We have a lot of people still looking into the investigation themselves. But why this far after, if this was a hacktivism type situation where they're doing this for a political gain or some kind of political reason, or just thought of this, what if someone in those homes or someone using that app, what if someone's trying to get access to that person in relation to something going on with Charlie Kirk? Interesting. I wanted to point out as well that this is the second major healthcare data incident in New Zealand in quick succession, following a breach of the Manage My Health patient portal in late December of 2025, early 2026. So this does seem like someone is targeting something in New Zealand multiple times. We don't know if it's the same hackers, but very interesting that this is kind of close to the previous one. And also this one specifically with the Charlie Kirk and not asking for money, not holding anything ransom. That is very strange. What are the motives here? So let's look at some possible motives. Cybersecurity experts and media reports describe the incident as unusual compared to typical breaches. The hackers did not appear to demand ransom, at least up front, and the changes were destructive and chaotic rather than purely extractive, marking living patients as deceased, changing names to Charlie Kirk, and in some cases, the names of New Zealand politicians. That's interesting. Altering ages, residential status, prescribers, and reassigning patients to different facilities. This tampering caused immediate operational disruption, as we saw. Experts noted it seemed designed to cause chaos, draw attention, or send a message rather than just steal data quietly. Hacktivism and speculation. Many outlets and cybersecurity professionals raised the possibility of hacktivism, which we talked about earlier. The inclusion of political names, including Charlie Kirk and New Zealand politicians. So it definitely could be political or a troll-like provocation. One expert described it as potentially a political activist attack or an attack from some activist group, noting the absence of typical extortion elements. Now, with how much control they had over this app, they could have easily extorted money. They could have easily made this a ransomware type of situation. So why didn't they? There was also communication from a claimed hacker. An individual or group claiming responsibility contacted some media outlets and provided sample patient data. In emails that used political figures' names in communication, they claimed the breach was not politically or financially motivated, but offered no alternative explanation. That's very interesting. If it wasn't financial or for some kind of ransom, if it was not to leak information, which they could have, right? That could still happen. But they also said it was not political. That's the most interesting part of this. Later messages stated the security threat is over, claiming they had deleted the stolen data and signed off with phrases like, "Goodbye for now, we are Charlie Kirk." Now, that is interesting as well. If it's not political, but they're mentioning Charlie Kirk and saying, "We are Charlie Kirk," what does that mean? So let me know your thoughts down in the comments. Was this hack just a spoof? They said they returned the data, or they deleted the data that they stole. We've seen a lot of chaos come from this, and there could be more that could still come down the line. But it seems as though they're saying this is not financially or politically motivated, yet at the same time, they're saying, "We are Charlie Kirk." They're changing people's names to Charlie Kirk and marking them as deceased. Let me know what you think about it down in the comments. And as always, don't forget to like, subscribe, and share this around. And if you'd like to support the channel, there are links down in the description. And if you haven't already, go check out my first episode of the UAP series. Although it might not be for everyone because some people don't care about UFOs and UAPs, it is very interesting, and the people that have seen it so far really enjoy it. And episode 2 will be out later this week.